obviously there is differentiation in contemporary Chinese society. Hu Jintao does not go to the Temple of Heaven every year and pray, or sorry, I'll put this another way. The successful harvest is not guaranteed by Hu Jintao's making offerings at the Temple of Heaven. As any of you who have been to China or seen these, there's a whole lot of ritualized behavior going on in Hu Jintao's life. He does a lot of rituals, but that's a whole other story. So, at a certain level, obviously, there is differentiation, right? Hu Jintao's political functions don't really have a religious component. But I think it's useful, and this is really what I'll spend the next 10 minutes or so on. It's very useful, I think, to look at the history of that differentiation. And here, I want to go back to the 19th century crisis in China, which was increasingly over the 19th and then into the 20th century seen by political and intellectual elites in China as a crisis of modernity. That China was weak, China was disunified, China was subject to foreign imperialism because it was not modern. And so the challenge for patriotic Chinese was to make China modern. Modernization was seen very much as a matter of westernization. Right? China's problems of backwardness and so on were cast in Western terms, and the problem was a problem of getting China to get rid of all of its traditional backwardness and adopt the modern practices of the West. For people interested in, and this was of huge importance because if it wasn't done, I mean, this, for those of you who know anything about Chinese history will know that if this wasn't accomplished, China would be finished. Right? China would lay abject and prone beneath the heavy boot of European imperialism, Western imperialism. For people interested in religion, so the point I'm trying to make is that the program of modernization and the commitment of modernization was a utopian commitment, a salvationist commitment that can usefully be thought of in religious terms. For people interested in religion, what did modernization mean? Modernization meant the transformation of religion along Western and especially Protestant lines. Right? And in part, they were picking up these ideas from Protestant missionaries who were working in China in the late 19th and early 20th century. Over the last years of the 19th century and the first half of the 20th century, Chinese intellectual and political elites created a new category called religion. Zongjiao. It was not a category that there are people are. It was not a category that existed in traditional Chinese thought. What were the characteristics of a religion? Religion involved, and again they were getting this from their understanding of Western religion. Religion meant belief in a supreme power. It meant an institutional framework, typically a hierarchical one. It meant professionalization, professional clergy. And it meant an agreed body of sacred texts. And this category of religion had to then be isolated from politics. It had to find its own sphere where it was allowed to do its thing, but that was not allowed to influence the really important decisions that were being made. So the point I'm trying to make here is that differentiation in the Chinese case was not a kind of natural or latent process that happened as society modernized as a result of industrialization or political reform, commercialization or urbanization or whatever. Differentiation of the religious sphere in China, and I would suspect in most non-Western societies, I haven't really thought this through, but there's another issue that kind of interests me. And my thinking on this has been very much influenced by Talal Asad, a scholar of Middle Eastern societies, of Islam and secularization. For China, differentiation was a deliberate effort linked to national salvation. It was a deliberate process that political elites engaged in to save China.